Good day. Here we are again. I love to be here. I'm glad. I hope this is helping you out. Maybe even if you don't know it. On to the wisdom. The wisdom for this day is part of that we forgive. Another piece of that tool. There are points where we have to forgive literally an unknown. We forgive the unknown. We forgive the unknown. We forgive the unknown. Ooh, that feels good. Oh yeah, there's many on. We let it rest and we do it again and again until you get what you see me having a reaction. That's it. The reason we do this is because there are unknowns, literally. That's the way they require to be forgiven as unknowns. You'll never quite know what they are, but you'll be free of them. And that's what's important. So let's leave it there. Let's move on to that wonderful story, Firehawk Ridge Sanctuary. She'd been sitting in the house watching the lady get her bags and put her bedding down on the floor like she was practiced at it, like she had done it many times. Like this was her life. She looked over at the lady and she said, "There's a nice stew over here on the stove if you require some food." "Oh, that would be lovely, dear," she said. They sat down at the small table and had stew and talked for a little while. She said, "I'll be here about 4 days. We'll grow you a nice floor. Grow you a nice floor." She did hear that right, and she wasn't about to ask for a retake, so grow you a nice floor. All right. All the things she had saw since she had come here. They were amazing, wonderful things, and sometimes a little frightening. But always for her good, she noticed that. She curled with small lights and read her Bible for a while and read this book that she had found called The Makings of Something Else. Quite an interesting book, quite a thick book, about 1,000 pages or so, written by one of her ancestors, apparently, never published, but here it was. As she was drifting off, she saw that the lady had crawled into her bag after having a little run outside and was off to rest. So did she. She woke in the morning to smell something amazing, pancakes, but a flavor she couldn't quite place with her nose. She came over after getting up and having her little run outside and came over and checked on what was being made. She said, "Flapjacks with gooseberries and another berry isn't from around here." Well, that's the smell I don't know. Oh, you'll love it though. It'll give you a lot of energy for today. That's good. So they ate the flapjacks and that wonderful syrup from a tree she had never heard of before, a Yadadar, whatever. That tree. Yep, Yadadar, maybe. Could be. Anyway. Stumbled around in her house a bit, got her boots on, those wonderful boots that have been saving and her feet and looking after her so well. Those beaten up hikers. She had no clue on how this floor was going to work, but the lady did. She said, "Well, let's get at it. Got 3 days here, and I'll be moving on after that." I moved into the sanctuary and she checked the stones and she said, very good job, by the way, for somebody that's never done it before. Did an awesome job. Now we just have to set the rest of this up. Floor, some other crystals that I brought along with me. You'll you'll understand it all in a minute. And as she watched this lady put those crystals into the wall just by speaking to the wood, at least that's what it looked like. It was amazing. The building changed, transformed. God's presence was palatable, present, available. And she looked at the floor and she said, well, now time to grow floor. She thought at first the floor would be the floor that she would walk on, but that wasn't the first floor they grew. And it grew. She dropped 3 seeds into the moss and she spoke some words that, well, weren't English. Didn't know what they were. But something started stirring down there, and then all of a sudden there was a floor under the moss. Literally, a floor. Just well, wow, that took a bit of doing. Built a nice place here, now all sealed up. She looked at the floor that existed and she said, I got some more work to do. It'll take me all day. Then we put in another floor on top over the nice moss. And then we put in a walking floor. That's why it takes 3 days. She watched, and every once in a while she thought that lady became younger. Years became longer. Wow, she was having a day. But she was working with her. She was being pulled in, and just put your hands on the floor and thank it for being here. Thank God for growing it. Let's strengthen it up. And that's what she did. And by the end of the day, she was glad she had those pancakes. They didn't need anything else the rest of the day. Lady had used the cooking oven to put something in that she had in a package. She said dinner later, it'll be really yummy. The lady approved herself quite well, so she was expecting yummy. As we move through this story with a little resistance, as you can hear, it's all right. Don't worry. I'm still here and alive. Back to that story. Hey, live or Memorex? Live. Gotta watch those things. Beep beep. Yeah, you get it. Anyway, back to the story. So she spent all day. She was really spent by that time, but they pulled out what was in there and it was meaty and bready and good. They sat there and munched on it on the new floor, sitting in the moss. It felt good. When it was finished, she said, well, I gotta tuck in. I'm tired. Lady said, I am too, so let's go do that. They did their runs outside and then they sat down and had a tea and went to bed. Day 2, more floor, different floor, looking different, darker, different material, thicker, different seeds. She was actually watching a floor grow. And it did it again. The floor grew. And they spent the rest of the day strengthening the floor. This building now was completely sealed. It was almost like you could pick it up and move it. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe that's where the other ones went. Just go somewhere afterwards. She made that offhanded comment, and the lady said, you'll see. Not time for you to know that right now. You got a lot of time to spend here. You'll understand it after all. My part's nearly done. Tomorrow I put it in the floor, then I'll leave. You'll strengthen it just like I've taught you. It'll be fine. Beautiful walking floor. Gonna pick a pattern from your heart. And that's the pattern the floor will grow in. You'll see. Pulled a little pot and she said, something special tonight. It's called Vision Stew. You'll have a nice dream. Make a pretty pattern for the floor. Well, that was correct. It was yummy and awesome, and she felt like falling asleep right afterwards. Did her little run outside, so the lady both curled in, and she had a wild dream. Whole new life, different life. No accounting, that's good. She didn't like accounting. She became an artist, shaping and shifting wood. And a studio off somewhere in Missouri. Jane had ain't in Missouri right now, man. He was on the other side of the US, a little place. But it was an interesting dream. The floor pattern on the floor was beautiful. She didn't understand it right now, but she would. She thought, maybe. Anyway, she woke to again those wonderful flapjacks. Only they had a different flavor of the day, and she knew it, her nose knew it. But she went out and dealt with her necessities, her little run outside, and came back in, and yeah, those flapjacks were good. And this time they had berries that she'd never ever heard of, but they were yummy, and they definitely fortified her. And then the lady said, "Well, I gotta get going soon, so let's get that floor in." And off they went, dropped the seeds, floor grew. The lady smiled at her and said, "You got it now, lady. Don't worry." Lady? I'm not lady. Well, not yet. Maybe. Oh, wow, this could be something. She had been an artist. She'd drawn, she'd done some sculpting when she was younger, and they had nothing to really write home about. Well, they were pretty to her, but not to anyone else. So she became an accountant. Yeah, in her world, you know. Well, we know that, she said. Sat on the floor, thanking God for the floor. Floor wibbled and rippled and eventually became very solid about 9 o'clock at night. What she didn't notice is there was a big package cooking in the oven. As the floor snuggled up to the oven and a plate of stone, where did that stone come from? Went under to protect the floor. I don't know where it came from. I'm going to ask. Thank you, God. That's all I can say. The floor had that pattern. Beautiful pattern. Wow, this place was familiar. But Missouri? Not here. No, this ain't Missouri. Maybe there's a bit to this she doesn't know. A lot, probably. She sat there and strengthened her floor. She thought of all the things that had happened. How close she got to God, how close she got to nature, how much she liked living like this, in this simplicity. She still had the satellite phone that she could reach out here and there, if necessary. And that putt bike, yeah, that thing could take her down a little ways. Seemed to get her back quicker than it went. That's just the way it was, at least first time. And as she sat there on the floor, finally, almost made an ah noise. And she felt the full power of God fall on her, and she was on the floor, out. We'll leave you there. More to come. Let's give you a blessing. May joy in every footfall be. May peace follow the heartbeat. May hope flow in every breath. May abundance and overflow and thriving be found as you move through your beautiful painted day by God. As he wishes, as he wills, as you wish, as you will, if you wish, if you will, it can be yours. We come before you, Father, Spirit, Son, and this is yours. From the packing and coughing, if we had it, but we didn't, we got stuck a couple of times. You're amazingly wonderful. You're rebuilding everything, always. Shaping, moving, shifting, that's you. Making our life better and better and more in the pattern that you made us to walk in. We thank you for provision. We thank you for pushing back the enemy. We thank you for all things you do. And all things you paint for us. With that amazing brush of yours. And we say, give us courage and strength and grace and mercy as we move through the way. And we say, thankful, grateful, gratitude, thankful, grateful, gratitude, thankful, grateful, gratitude. Standing in awe and honor, respect, allowing all glory to flow. Father, Spirit, Son. This is, and so this is. Amen. So rest and wake well and be well. Know the path is well lit by God. Blessings. Till next time. Blessings again.